Okay, Jake, give me a check.
Check.
Brad, give me a check.
Check. Hello. And then, hi.
That's good. What are your regular talking moves?
You know, I was giving you ranges. Because you know I will. You gotta seat me at the top. Ready to crack this when you are, Joe?
Here, I'll pretend to crack one just for you.
Oh, okay. You're not first.
I'll make the noise.
So refreshing every time.
I love it. That worked out well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unorthodox Film Podcast, where we discuss movies that meet specific genres, topics, or scenarios, and we recommend movies that we enjoy in the hopes that we introduce our listeners to movies that they haven't seen or heard of. With our guests, we discuss movies that we have seen before and engage in conversation based on our memory and recollection of our enjoyment of those titles. At the end of each episode, we roll a dice and select one of the recommended titles to watch together. We will then discuss that film on our next episode with fresh eyes and determine whether the film holds up, as well as explore the film in a more detailed and critical discussion. I am Bradford Clark, and with me is my co-host of Trouble,
Joseph Sheldon Quick. Hey.
And tonight our guest is look at that, fucked my script up. Tonight our guest is Jake Cypert, a friend of ours who is a first AC and sometimes growing DP. I'm hoping to see more out of that, but we'll see. We'll see. And tonight we are going to discuss coming of age movies as recommended by Jake. And last week our recommendations were made on sci-fi comedies, and then we randomly selected writer and director Mike Judge's Idiocracy from 2006. So our conversation is going to probably start there. There's no probably. It's going to start there.
That's where it's starting for sure.
Jake, before we roll too far into talking about all that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well,
it doesn't have to be the whole biography. Let our people know.
So I was born.
Yep. Starting at what time?
5:37 p.m.
That's a solid answer. I don't know the time.
Eastern, Mountain, Pacific,
Washington D.C. time.
Eastern Standard Time.
There you go.
All right. All right.
But yeah, you're you work in the industry with us.
Yes, sir.
Briefly, what do you do a little bit?
Well, I'm an assistant camera, AC. So, you know, pulling focus and setting up cameras and moving cameras and making sure cameras are cameraing, and that's it. It's the job. It's making sure cameras are cameraing.
Yep.
Camera must camera.
Camera has to camera. Without the
camera,
it's
what
a
are we all
radio
doing
play.
There? Yeah. It's true. And then you recommended coming of age films to us. Was there any particular reason that particular topic sprung on you? I
just feel like it's not really a genre, but it's like a genre that gets referenced a lot when you are just talking, like, you know, it's like, oh, this is the coming of age movie of you know what I mean?
Of a lifetime.
Yeah,
this is going to change.
All the time, but it really does transcend genres.
Yes.
And I really think like that's kind of what my aim was for this list, is to kind of showcase how different, because it all depends on who's relating to it.
Right.
Right.
There's all different ways.
I took an individual approach as well.
Age.
And we'll define it when we get to that a little bit later. This was kind of cool though, because I same thing. I was hoping to not get the same type of movie, so I kind of grouped some titles together. I was like, oh, okay, well these all kind of hit this mark, and these kind of hit this mark, and I'll probably try and
precisely,
fish from those little ponds when it comes time to do the list. So yeah, I got a pretty strong list here. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have and see what we come up with. Before we get into that, we are going to dive right into Idiocracy. Mike Judge, brought us this comedy in 2006. I had seen it before. I think all of us had seen it previously, correct? This wasn't a new watch for anybody. It had been a very long time for me, though, so it was still definitely a fresh rewatch. So there was a lot of...
a couple of years.
There was a lot of surprising things that I took away from the experience. What about you, Jake? How long has it been since you've seen this?
High school, so my junior year of high school probably is when I last saw it, so 2012.
Okay.
So,
it's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a decade or better than...
Yeah.
What, a decade for you?
No, I mean, no. It's probably been 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
My wife and I seriously love that movie. It's one of the, like, so we used to go on dates where we'd, like, go out to eat and then just go to Meijer or whatever store and buy a DVD off the... value rack,
grab bag, man,
and just go, and so that was one of our like first date movies, and she was like, "What do you mean?" And I hadn't seen it at the time, and this was like, I want to say 2010, so that was probably the first time I saw it. No, it was 2009. But so that was the first time I saw it. But I've seen it dozens of times since then because I'm a huge Mike Judge fan. I've seen all of this stuff, and not only that, like it was just a perfect satire. The satire is a little thick.
Oh, it's so thick. It's not trying to hide anything from the very beginning.
If anything,
monologue.
that was its flaw. But I loved that for it. It was just anyway.
So before we watched, or somewhere in the early part of watching it, one of you had said something about the popularity of the movie, or did it make money? There was some discussion of the success of it, right?
Well, yeah, we kind of briefly mentioned it, but there was none.
There was none. And apparently that was pretty fucking intentional. So I'm trying to find where I read it earlier. He
tried to do an all word of mouth campaign.
Not even. So in addition to concerns about, so basically it comes down to the marketing, right? We had noticed that there were brands, like it was branded, everything was branded. Their shirts were branded, there were ads. The TV screen, he had like a 100-inch TV screen that had like a 30-inch viewing area because everything else around it was 24-inch, ads.
Right.
Yeah.
So they didn't get permission to do any of the real branding. And that's why none of the labels looked the same. They were all morphed in some way. So the studio was trepidatious about putting it out there.
They made fun of a lot of brands.
Because they did, right. And so as part of the release contract with the studio, they had to have a theatrical term. So they basically did a limited release. They didn't market it. They kept it all under the radar. In some markets, the theatrical release was labeled as Untitled Mike Judge Project.
Yeah.
And then they quickly hurried it to shelves so that they could not catch the attention of any of the brands that were used to kind of skirt
which is unfortunate because
so they set themselves up to fail.
Done. Yeah, and so also in the costuming for that, which is really interesting, they found this really nondescript.
Oh, I was going to mention this too.
Shoe,
yeah,
which. Like they thought were the ugliest things on the planet. Like there's nobody
just made of foam plastic.
And it turned out to be Crocs.
Yeah,
it just blew up after the movie.
But here's the thing,
not because of the movie.
That's what I was going to say. It's still that they still launched and became an incredible, phenomenon.
I guess I don't want.
I mean, they are, but it makes it a phenomenon to me because I don't fucking understand it. But regardless, it did it without the movie. Like that movie didn't launch them. It wasn't a story of like Reese's Pieces or anything like that. Like it was straight up boom, boom. But the design, I think that's a good place to start. So none of the film could have been shot in any as-is location. Everything had to be prepped. If not, everything was done on soundstage for sure.
There was definitely old matte paintings on green screen and stuff like that, which was lovely to see in 2005. You know what I mean? And
right.
Crossover, because he was still used to film, so he was still using his old tricks. And I
2005 isn't a guaranteed digital era. You're still definitely shooting on film for the most part.
For the most part,
it
could go both ways.
It was that
still a transitional period where
that's what I'm saying.
The red one wasn't out yet, which is what really brought it
launched
out.
that.
So
But that's what I'm
I
saying.
mean, they had them, right? Like Star Wars was
Sure.
on them and everything. But
Rodriguez had already been playing
Yeah.
with it, but it wasn't the language of the day. Like,
Right.
it
It was
wasn't
still
like, wait a
film.
minute, we're shooting on film? Like,
Yeah.
you just expected that.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm just saying, like, he didn't go hard into any kind of computer graphics or anything. He used the old tricks, you know. And at that point, even
Quite a
if you're
few
still
of them.
shooting on film, you would try to push for
Yeah,
computer in the post instead of
It was
the
really
practical.
fun trying to find where the matte started and where it ended. And truthfully, I couldn't figure out if it was green screen or if it was live matte painting.
It looked like a combination. I feel like you could kind of tell when it was green screen.
Yeah.
Obviously like all those buildings, right? Like where they're literally hanging on to each other by rope.
Yeah,
You know,
brilliant, yeah.
But
The garbage
Like the
avalanche.
Costco scene, the Costco
Yeah.
thing. I mean, obviously there was a lot of
It was a
framing
giant
out with
matte
composition,
painting, but
you know.
it was
Yeah.
also
Right.
green screened.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful crossover. Like so cinephiles like us, I really appreciate that in it. So I think that's part of why it became this amazing cult classic. Is
But even with that being present as it was, because I wouldn't say that it was seamless. Like it's you definitely noticed
definitely
it,
not
right? You
seamless.
just knew it.
No, it was
But at the
2005.
same
Come on.
time,
What was?
they had all the vehicles were all like those were live, tangible, touchable things, right? They
Right.
had to operate. The vending machines didn't necessarily have to operate. They were just lights and computer
Wonderful practical
LED
effects
and
still
stuff.
there. That's another thing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
It has
the
all
hands-on
layers.
practicals were still brilliant.
was this car a street sweeper?
I was trying to figure it out. It very well
Like-
could
like
have
a-
been, but they had 4 seats or 5 seats in them. Like there was.
Was it like it was either a street sweeper? It looked like a street sweeper to
They
me.
were modified golf carts.
That's my other
That was
thought.
the other guess.
They were
Yeah.
modified golf carts.
They
but some
moved.
of-
They moved pretty
some
good.
of the bigger
did.
some of the bigger things, like they did use like a Zamboni on
Right.
some things.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They did use
Oh,
some
that was
street-
it. Yeah,
Like some
yeah.
of the more interesting larger vehicles
Yeah.
did have like they used a street sweeper,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a school bus that was all like
Oh yeah, they had
turned into something.
all the police vehicles were raggedy old vans.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they didn't look at like everything had modifications to it. I mean, clearly they didn't go through a factory and
Yeah,
mass produce.
whoever did art
props.
direction on that.
It was
brilliant.
redecoration.
Yeah, very well done.
The plot. So let's transition from art to plot. The movie opens
Yeah,
with
it was a
the.
little weak there.
You think so?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the movie opens with the monologue describing the modern trend, and that opening makes a lot of sense to me. Like the math checks.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
love that.
obviously you're looking at 2 target groups, but like the math checks.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Oh, yeah.
for
100%.
for a moving point for a plot, I think it's brilliant. And then for
It
like
works very well. I love the movie. I think that it's a little, it's thin. It's not veiled in any way. There's nothing, it's very in your face. It could have been.
I
If
mean,
it
it's
wasn't,
not a fucking
if the
high
satire-
drama.
no,
or
no,
anything,
right?
so-
That's what I'm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it for what it is, but it
didn't
could have
need to
done-
be
but it
super
could have done
cheeky.
better.
No.
It wouldn't have to been hidden and shelved. Had it.
but we already discussed why it was hidden and
Yeah.
shelved. All right, Pepsi. If the script was better, then they wouldn't have. They wouldn't have sued. That's
I don't know.
the
Yeah,
Joe,
that's-
that's the Joe
Yeah,
determination.
like possibly.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. The script was fine. It's
I thought
not.
the script
That's
was
not the
fine.
question.
It was
It's
funny.
the plot. The plot is the question, right? That's
Yeah.
the
So
script is funny.
The plot
It's
being
what does what it does.
Yeah, the plot being what it was. I mean, quickly you throw him. You have to get the impression that he's as dumb as he is, right? He's super average Joe,
Yeah.
and
Literally.
right.
great
And so
job
it
at
takes him
selling
it
that,
takes
too.
him 15 20 minutes, into the new world to I mean, he reads the newspaper and then it's like it's still a mistake. Oh, they misprinted this
Goes through
magazine,
a bit
right?
of shock. Yeah.
And it leads in. So I feel like sure as on the nose, like I think some of the stuff had to be on the nose. It's like Basketballs couldn't have been a subtle movie. It was supposed to
Yeah.
be on the
Right.
nose. Like
Yeah.
that was the whole point. And in truth be told, if you're talking about a future audience watching what you're predicting to be a stupid future, like you're playing to your audience, and that's
Yeah.
what I thought was brilliant
Oh,
about
it
the movie.
definitely. Yeah, it definitely.
The dialogue in it was the fact that everyone spoke a mix of what was it like Valley Girl?
yeah.
I mean, basically just all of the trendy slang is
he
reduced
literally
down.
ended it with various crunks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
So that amalgamation
it.
of lazy, I mean, that was 2005. If
Yeah.
you look now, there are presently people who don't write full sentences because they write everything
it lives
in.
beautifully.
So
yeah.
the
It
fact,
aged so well.
the fact
Well,
of
we
the
were
matter
talking
is,
about the misspellings that they have and how immediately after the first thing we see on. I pulled up Facebook, and the first thing you see is a misspelling of why this thing is
not
broken.
only a misspelling, but a
terrible
terrible
grammar.
All of it, because zero fucks are given, and
Yeah.
I see that a lot, you know, in present day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that we're 2 steps from this, but I'm saying my judge was on to something.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, the brand. But going back to the branding thing, it's like, I mean, that is where we're going. I mean, how many times do we get interrupted by ads watching this movie about ads? You know,
Right.
It's got what plant craves.
it's
it
how
had been-
plants crave. Yeah,
It's got electrolytes.
It had been so long since I'd seen the
you
movie
can't
that
even go to a
when-
gas station without ads.
No. Yeah, as soon as you pay at the pump,
Yeah.
GSTV takes over,
Yeah.
and there they are. Hi, I'm Maria Menounos,
It's good for the economy.
Yes.
and they'd show you those little like TikTok type reels to make
Yeah, yeah,
soap
yeah.
and sell you vacations.
We all know
and-
who Maria Menounos is. For
Of course, if you
100%, yeah.
drive and fill your tank, you know who Maria Menounos is.
Yeah.
And also, if you go to movie theaters, you see Maria Menounos.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She got that
Ads
gig, too.
there. I recently went and saw small tangent, but Alien had its 45th anniversary release, so I went and saw that. And discussing like, when do I need to get there? I was like, well, it's an old movie. I doubt they're going to play any ads. And you know, we were still 15 minutes late, and we came in just at the start of. There's a little interview with Ridley Scott and the director of the new Alien movie. And that was a little 20-minute piece, but we were 15 minutes late, so they played something, and it's probably Coke ads, probably the Army has ads.
What theater was it?
Cinemark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like,
I was late, but
it was like
presumption
Imagine,
is
it was like
definitely wasn't a
Imagine or
late start.
MJR. They always have those like local like business
Oh
ads and stuff like
and
that.
those run consistently. So I mean, I think there are elements of Idiocracy that you know are running true.
Oh, hell yeah.
You
There's
know,
a lot of things range, especially the circus that is the government, the politicians.
Oh, man.
Dude, when the walkout music came for Terry Crews, I'm like, I know I've heard walkout music for Donald Trump for sure, 100%.
Well, he's got
Shoots a
artists.
machine gun.
He's got artists calling him like, "Bro, you can't use that song."
Right.
Yeah.
But I can't. Oh no. You can't use that song no more, man. That's not what that. It's not the intended use of that. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think it's a pretty funny movie. I had a lot of fun with it. Musical. It had a score. There wasn't a lot of
There was
rock
like
music
I
or
only
anything.
remember like one.
There were some songs
song.
that came in, but they didn't play for very long.
Yeah.
They were very much for the mood, like
Yeah.
a score.
Right. Well, there was like the band that was playing
a lot
at
of
the
folk
rehabilitation.
music that came in just as like an overture throughout the whole thing, which
Right.
really added this whole like Mike Judge-esque comedy to it. You know what I
Right.
mean? I don't know. It was great. The whole mood of it. Just
Yeah.
How you can be so downtrodden but lighthearted at the
So-
same time.
For me, the most fun scene to watch, because like each of the scenes, the streets, and we talked about the art design, it was all very similar, just you know, a different set piece for them to build. But watching them do the monster trucks at the rehabilitation was a very interesting scene, because that was another one of those scenes. Like the monster trucks themselves, putting myself in 2005, I was like, was that 2005 CGI, or was I looking at a small toy that was enlarged?
I was definitely. Oh, you know what? It's hard to say actually.
It
now that I
really
think about
was,
it,
like-
because could look like it was just keyed out, but I think it was CGI for sure.
You think it was CGI? What's your take?
I'm sorry, I was doing some mixing here. was the
The rehabilitation, the monster trucks.
Are they CGI or real toys blown up?
Yeah, they did do some miniature stuff, but I definitely think that that there was some CGI use there, like, but more so for the explosions. That was probably some miniatures, like how they.
I think if anything,
aside from the animation part, like
yeah,
parts
so
that were
just
moving,
what I was going to say, like the actual dick parts of them.
Oh,
were,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So
there-
combination.
there was a marriage
Because you
there,
could definitely tell, like they didn't do a whole lot of close-ups. You didn't get any close-ups of the drivers, so you didn't know who was in those.
Except for Beef Supreme.
Beef Supreme,
climbing out of rubble. Though.
Yeah.
out of
right,
rubble, right? And the other guy, which was definitely a frame shot because they didn't show him.
There, a lot of the shots, like the composition wasn't very inspired, but it was very intentional. Tell the story.
That's what I'm getting to. Well,
and
like the
maintain,
wide shots, and you've seen the big trucks.
Whenever they punched in, you could tell they were on
felt
some
like
sort
plates.
of sound stage. They're definitely, you could
They
tell
felt
they
like
were
plates.
plates for sure. Yeah, but done well.
yeah, no,
You could tell it was shot intentional.
I like the movie. I've not said anything bad.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say about it, Doc? I didn't think this one was super deep. I didn't think we'd be able to pontificate for too long. So,
No. Amazon warehouses are becoming Costco, though.
oh my God,
Have you seen the giant Amazon
there's
warehouses
two
that
of them now.
2 miles long?
there's one by the airport, about 15 minutes from the airport, and then if you take Michigan Avenue up another 15 minutes, there's a whole nother one.
They're gigantic.
They're
And
huge.
they just there's one in Lavone. They just keep popping up everywhere.
Oh, did you hear about Amazon stores? You know how they have those stores where you just grab and go.
You go to
Yeah, did you know
grab the
they're-
returns for discounts?
I don't know if this is true, but did I
Oh, okay. The grab and go stores, like you're talking about grocery
Yeah,
stores,
where
not
you-
the discount stores.
Where you
So
literally-
they had them in New York City.
Yeah.
And the technology wasn't real.
Yeah, no,
Did you
it was
hear
just
about
a bunch of
this?
Indian
they
dudes.
hired a call center in
Yeah.
India and had them monitoring cameras and just watching people go through. Whenever you put in your bag, they would charge to your card.
What?
It's not AI, it's an Indian.
Oh, jeez.
Well, it's a bunch of Indians.
So wait a minute.
but
I don't understand because all you have to do is take the idea of what Amazon is and turn it into a POS. Like the scan reads the UPC. This is what you want. Add it to cart.
Well, the point,
They
the
got
thing was,
found out and pulled the plug. It's already
the thing was, there was no scanning, right? They would.
That's what I like. Years ago, when I saw like, oh, this is going to be the new thing. It was
Yeah.
people had their phones. You had your app out, so
Yeah.
you were
No,
already
this-
logged in.
Which
None
does
of that.
actually bring me to another point about idiocracy. For a bunch of idiots, they had really good technology with their UPCs, and you would just wave it over, and the door would open.
yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah, I can't
I mean,
get
you
a
say good technology, but that one lady didn't get fries because they were out of potatoes, and then they took her kids.
But the
and
technology
drugged
still
her.
existed.
They say they still charge her and knew who she was because the scan
Yeah.
worked.
The
At
scan
least,
worked.
at least they sprayed
also-
her
Bro,
with
it's like he
Xanax
didn't even
or
have to
something.
fucking. He was like
barely-
a mile away. The thing would scan him, and it's like, fugitive, get him. Get them.
Scanning
Yeah, I'll give you
UPCs
that,
is
yeah.
like, because we're all scanning our own groceries now. And when you got it, and you're like, oh my God, stretching the bag out, molesting the candy,
Yeah.
trying not to get it to melt, but you just want to buy it and scan it. Yeah. But his arm just flashes in front of
Yeah.
everything and boop,
Yeah.
cops are on him.
Yeah, from 40 feet away.
Yeah, there was like a lot of like automated technology. It's like, how did a bunch of idiots come up with this automated technology?
Old technology.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
gotta be. Right,
The
right.
system was already in place.
But they figured out how to use it.
They did. All right. Well, it
kept it
sounds
alive.
like we have said all we need to say about
think so.
Idiocracy. I would recommend the movie again.
Highly, yeah. I love it.
Jake,
sure.
would you recommend it to
Oh, yeah.
somebody? Yeah, for sure. It's a
It's
rewatchable
just
movie.
a good movie.
So we are going to go and get over into our list. Recommendations
Shoot.
this evening are for coming of age. So I kind of did a little light research, and I found this incredible site called Wikipedia that
What?
went ahead and gave me this definition. So coming of age movies, they focus on the growth of a protagonist from childhood to adulthood or coming of age. Coming of age stories tend to emphasize dialogue or internal monologue over action and are often set in the past. The subjects of coming of age stories are typically teenagers. Now, in the wording of this, this is typically or this or that. It doesn't have to be a kid. It doesn't have to be because there are definitely ones. One of us. It's a phone. That's what it is. We had this before.
It's my phone. Ah.
Yep. Struggled with Dylan.
Get over here.
So I think if you just turn off.
It's on the cord. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Copy.
My point being, the movies don't have to have just children in the cast, but more or less coming of age is the protagonist coming over a hump of some sort of part of life,
Yes.
coming from, from a teenager into adult growth, or like there's just this moment
from
of
youth to adolescence, adolescence to adulthood.
right.
So when we talked about this the other day, we said that it was a transitioning from one period of your life to another. So a couple on my list don't have kids at all. It's like young adults. You know?
100%.
Okay,
100%. That's why I wanted to clarify here.
When I'm saying like
I've had coming of age moments in my life as an adult.
Yeah,
exactly.
Just because we're past the college years and I'm an adult, what becoming a father.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like I'm willing to bet nobody tonight is going to mention this, so I'll mention something like The Graduate, right? Where he's a college student, and his whole turning over. He's already been through college, but now it's he's taking this moment to walk through this door, what the past few years have been versus what I'm looking forward to as a whole new realization for him. Mrs. Robinson. So traditionally, we force our guests to start, Jake. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that over to you.
Well, my first pick, let me pull up the actual Wikipedia, is SLC Punk.
Oh, I love that movie. Very good choice.
I don't need this Wikipedia. I've seen this movie like 10 times. What am I talking about?
Matthew Lillard.
Whoever plays
Devin
Bob.
Sawa. Yeah, whoever plays Bob.
Michael something.
Several good actors in that.
Fuck, I just have the Wikipedia. I might as well, since I have the Wikipedia up, I'll get his actual name so we're not sounding like total idiots. Michael Gurgian.
Oh yeah, good luck. I'm looking at it.
They got phones. They can pull them out.
Anyways,
so the movie's about
a couple of punk kids who recently graduated college and are deciding they're taking it's not really sabbatical, but it's like, well, what do we do next sort of thing in Salt Lake City, SLC, and it just kind of goes from there.
Arguably presented as a boring town anywhere. Any non-Chicago, non-New York, non-LA street in the 80s.
You can't even buy beer there.
Right.
Yeah, very
Mormon.
It's a Mormon state, run by the Mormon church. Yep. So they have to.
Got to go to Wyoming. They go to Wyoming,
or they leave to go to Wyoming to get higher intoxicant beer.
Yep. Great scene in that movie.
Yeah, so many great scenes and monologues.
I just think the Nazis were a group of people. What?
They were misunderstood. What? Oh my God, so many good things.
Yeah.
But what do you get when you just cut the alcohol content of beer in half? You get drunks that are fatter. Lazier,
the
greasier.
I think one of the quotes I do the most is "Sink, you fool! Why isn't she sinking?" It's the Salt Lake, dude. It's got a lot of salt.
Salt makes things buoyant.
But I feel like
kidding me?
So the first time I watched that movie, I didn't quite get what was going on because it's kind of like it's just a bunch of random nonsense.
Sure.
And then it goes to how
it gets sad, doesn't it?
It gets super sad. Yeah. That moment. We don't care about spoilers at all, right?
On the recommendation, we'd like for people to see it, so I prefer
understood.
Not.
When the sad part happens, it's sad, and it's like, to me, it was like a relatable moment of like. It's hard to not spoil it with
That's what I like about SLC Punk is it offers a lot of relatability. Even if you don't go through exactly the same thing, they put the characters through things to where you can kind of turn your own experiences into like, okay, they get it.
Yeah. Right, and there's enough variance of characters, even the smaller supporting characters, where like if you don't relate to the immediate lead characters, there's someone in there that you had you were one of those in that friend group where you knew people like that, and you felt included in like, oh, if this wasn't me, I know that person.
You're right. And beyond that, the whole like, oh, you have to grow up at some point. You can't be a punk kid forever. You have to be an adult in society.
Right.
And the moments that lead up to that, like the homeless guy and...
Yeah, the dialogue about chaos and order and chaos, that's one of my favorite parts because that's really what... It's about learning to hone, like that's what growing up is learning to hone your chaos because you have to be the order.
Right.
Everything is fucking nuts out here.
Right. And it's like, it isn't like, it's not selling out. That's the whole point. And you're not selling out just because you're giving up this lifestyle. You are being an adult and you have to be an adult. And it's just that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, good pick, Jake. I've seen it a couple times, not enough to know it as familiar as you guys are with it, but I'm familiar enough with it to know that it's a great fucking movie and deserves to be recommended tonight.
For the first time in my life, I'm 18 and I can say, fuck you!
So I always make Joe go next, so I think I will take the second. We'll go.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we'll go counter today.
Go ahead.
See now, if I'd have been Joe, he'd have been like, "Why are you always picking me?" Now? I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Keep on his toes.
But I definitely know what I want to pick. I'm going to start us out by correcting a wrong that was brought to us from one of our devoted listeners. Paul had exerted serious disappointment that this movie didn't come up when we talked about movies that took place in schools. And I was like, bro, I think there's definitely going to be another time that we can talk about
PJ
Rushmore.
Rambo, yeah.
Rushmore by Wes Anderson. I think his second feature. Oh my God!
Bill Murray, Jason Schwartzman.
So it's a Wes Anderson movie.
Star-studded cast.
So that's what I was to say. It's the first to kind of put them together. I believe it's his second movie. It is 1998 with Jason Schwartzman as the lead. He's young. I think he's supposed to be like 14, 15.
Yeah,
right.
Like he's a sophomore. But.
He's a nobody, and he lives in this world, his own world of where he's everybody. Like he's the greatest. He's king shit, and no one else should see otherwise. But he starts this relationship with another student's father from the school, and that's Bill Murray, and they've got this really weird. American Beauty type. What are you looking at?
It's not moving.
It's not rolling. Like it says it's.
Is it like scrolled too far over?
Did we stop somewhere, or is it?
No, it's still going.
Okay,
It wasn't auto scrolling.
Sorry about that. Everyone was looking at the screen.
It freaked me out. I'm sorry.
So Rushmore.
Anyways, we got to start all the way over from the beginning.
We don't, thankfully, and I'm not going to cut this shit out either. So you just deal with it.
Make sure it sounds good. We don't edit.
So Rushmore is it's this story about this kid's year, and he just keeps putting himself into really like weird situations with the teachers. He falls in love with the teacher. He's bossy. He's forceful. He's like it's a parochial school, and he doesn't come from a parochial type of family. Like he's there on like what's it called a grant or something.
Okay.
Like he's not wealthy. He's not in any way what he is pretending to be. And it's honestly, the growth and the coming of age comes more from Bill Murray's character. Scholarship, thank you. From Bill Murray's character. But both of them have this really weird growth that either helps them or harms them. Rushmore is my first recommendation.
That was a great movie. It was very influential for me a little bit, because it came out when I was in high school. I was a freshman, and he was a strange kid, and just a little different, but not like odd, just a little asymmetrical,
right?
And I related to it very well. Plus, I was a huge Bill Murray fan. Caddyshack, my dad showed me shit.
I think Bill Murray's attracted me to it.
Yeah, and it obviously fell in love with Wes Anderson. Yeah, great pick, Brad.
I've never seen it. I'll have to check it out. I haven't watched a lot of Wes Anderson movies, though. So.
I've stopped watching a lot of Wes Anderson movies, and there's nothing personal against him. I think he's just got that aesthetic that you just got to be in the right mindset.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This one is less Wes Anderson than it's probably the one when you start to see his voice.
Is it closer to like a Darjeeling or?
It's you see pieces of that, but he's able to do that. Yeah, he's able to do those because he gets the budget for it. This one, he doesn't get to create the sets. He doesn't get to create, there's not a lot of that. So he's shooting in lived-in worlds, and so his aesthetic is there, but what you're describing, where he like somehow controls everything in his realms.
Yeah, that hadn't happened yet.
He's at the whimsy of reality in that sense. So it's kind of a marriage of both.
It's beautiful.
If I was to say it's anything, it's that film that, because his very next one I believe was the Royal Tenenbaums. That was the first time you really saw
him. Yeah,
and this is the one that got him that money. Right.
So Joseph,
my first one is going to have to be Say Anything. From 1989, John Cusack and what's her name? Naomi Skye, Lily Taylor,
Actors.
Actresses,
Movie
actors.
Teenagers in the 80s, the late 80s.
This is the Boombox movie, right?
That's all I know. I'm waiting for him to say something other than the
Boombox movie.
That's literally all I know.
But I
about
mean,
it.
Never seen it.
It's it's about a guy who's not an orphan, but basically an orphan. He was an army brat, and his parents move away, and he ends up living with his sister just to stay in the same school for once. And he basically raises his sister's kid, when she's at work while he's not at school, and she's struggling to find a social life, and he finally gets the girl, and she breaks his heart, right? All because she's moving away. It's heartwarming. It's heart-wrenching.
Is it a funny movie?
Yeah,
I've always been confused about those types of 80s
they'll
movies.
call it
it's
a romantic comedy,
Right.
But this is before they were really romantic.
So there was still
comedies.
some genuine comedy in it. It wasn't just a
it
date
was
movie.
really hilarious, actually.
You too?
The situational,
No, I just mean like that. It's kind of what you thought about
Yeah.
it.
It's just like it just looks like
situational
Is this
humor.
the guy
Yeah, that's
standing
all you
outside
ever
in the
see
rain
from
with
it.
the boombox? I'm like,
yeah, I don't want to see some cheesy romance movie. Obviously, it's a classic, so it can't be that cheesy. But it's just like that's what you think, and I don't want to watch some cheesy.
Right, and it does. It's quintessential. It's where John Cusack got the whole crying in the rain, so nobody can see your tears. Whole cool breakup, whatever. But there's genuinely funny moments about relationships and what you learn about relationships in not only high school but college.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is high school, but it was the humor was very grown up for being a high school story.
Yeah.
89. So wait, was there dialogue about crying in the rain?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
I had to stand up for the white snake in me, and there's a whole song about crying in the rain, how you don't see the tears. But that was 87, and this is 89. So
Right.
I
it was
mean,
not
just
dialogue about it.
Zeitgeisty.
hey, listen, I gotta give credit.
It's around the same time.
Gotta give credit to the people who write lyrics like "Tune your G string to A."
A little too on the nose.
What?
Just like
What do
my
you mean?
judge.
So your
No,
G
just-
string, right? The
Yeah.
G string on a guitar.
Yeah.
The very next
Is
G
B.
is A. If you tune up,
Yes,
G,
I do know. Yes,
A.
I do know what the guitar tunings are. Correct.
So now turn a G string that a woman wears and tune it to A.
Yeah. I don't know if that works today.
That was the sarcasm in my
Tune it to
presentation. Anyways, have you seen? I've not seen it.
I've
You've
not
not
seen
seen
it.
it.
No.
We need to see it.
Apparently.
And I guess we've got a little bit of time to talk about it because we're going
Soundtrack's
to take
great,
our
yeah.
first break. We will see you guys in just a moment.
Oh, dude.
Is the video just rolling?
Yeah. No. I
pause.
just.
What the fuck's wrong?
They're about 3 seconds off, and we're back.
Jesus.
There you go.
I guess, yeah.
Okay, so Jake, what is your
Oh, next,
second
we're going straight
movie?
into it. Okay.
I mean,
Well,
why
it's because I cracked my thing
You
and I just didn't do it.
foolish fool.
Yeah, whatever. I don't even know how that's going to sound. I'm sorry, folks.
It's whatever. Okay, my next pick. My first pick was Matthew Lillard, and my second pick is Matthew Lillard, director Matthew Lillard,
Oh.
and it's called Fat Kid Rules the World.
Okay.
I've not seen this.
So this it went way under the radar. It's really hard to find. In case it's the dice roll pick, I do have a copy with me. So you don't want to spend $20 on this movie.
Nice.
Matthew Lillard directorial debut. It is based off a book of the same name. And it's about as you could imagine, a fat kid who is suicidal and he gets saved right at the beginning of the movie. He gets saved because he's trying to step out in front of a bus. And this dude this punk rock kid, makes sense, Matthew Lillard, punk rock kid who looks vaguely like Kurt Cobain, saves his life, and then doesn't let him forget it. And it's basically just about the kid figuring out who he is through music, through the guise of this guy who saved his life. And the guy who saved his life is a drug addict. He's homeless. He's like 18 and he's fucked up basically.
Okay.
And it's like, just goes from there.
You're right.
like,
So it's not streaming anywhere.
How
right
is
now.
it? When you say through music, is the kid whose life?
Yes.
Is he a musician?
He is. The kid who saves his life is a musician, and he's trying to basically not be homeless by using the fat kid. And he's, he gets caught up in front of their apartment because they're in Seattle. They're in Seattle. The book is in New York. They're in Seattle, and his dad comes down and is like, "Who's this?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're in a band." Kid doesn't play drums, but the guy says, "You're a drummer now. You're my drummer. We're in a band together."
Okay, so that's where. So him becoming a musician,
Correct,
and
Yeah.
facing ultimately facing his fears because he didn't die.
Yes, and it's all about
and
his.
He stands up to a bully because this guy's really been bullying him since he saved his life. Is what it sounds like.
Kind of, but he doesn't see it that way because he's just like, "I have a friend finally."
Well,
is essentially
right,
what
of
it
course,
is.
yeah.
It's about him overcoming his insecurities as much as it is
Finding himself.
Yes.
Finding himself. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you read the book,
I hope we roll that. That sounds like a good.
and if you read the book, it goes into this whole like.
He brought a copy.
Oh no! Well, okay.
Yeah.
So
If
we'll get your
comes up,
address.
he will leave
we'll
it
get your
here.
address. We'll send you Jake's copy.
Yeah. So if it's a recommendation and you want to watch it, you're gonna spend $20 on it on Amazon.
Yeah, we might.
but
Well,
we
it's not
won't
even
have
available.
to. We won't have to spend.
So I saw it when
I did see it on Amazon.
I saw it on Netflix when I first watched it, and then they took it off very quickly.
Well, probably distro rights.
Yeah, probably, but
Huh.
highly recommend.
Excellent.
Bradford, what is your second recommendation?
Well, my next one, I'm typing in this thing into Amazon. My next recommendation is Pump Up the Volume. Pump Up the Volume. Fuck yeah, Pump Up the Volume.
I don't know this movie.
Yeah, I didn't think you might. So Pump Up the Volume is why you laugh. Pump Up the Volume is a good movie. Don't listen to Joe. So Pump Up the Volume has Christian Slater and Samantha. I forget her name.
It's very good. I love it. It's
Christian Slater is a like he tended to play when he was younger, kid outside of the norm, right? So he wasn't welcome and he did his own thing. And he ran a ham radio station. And he ran it under an alias, and he was the coolest thing that everyone in town listened to. And ham radio is essentially illegal, right? So he was essentially breaking the law.
pirate
Radio.
Pirate signal. He didn't have a license through the FCC.
Right. And he starts to like really like speak his mind, and it just kind of incites the neighborhood, and it just kind of goes from there. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but it's about teen self-discovery, right? Mm-hmm. At the age of figuring out that you're not just a kid, but your opinions also matter to the change that should be coming, with the next generation. So at the core, it's about the youth speaking up and taking the mantle that they're designed to take, because eventually,
right? Just here he feels like a loner, but everything he says, everyone relates to, and he finds out that he's a leader, not a loner. Like everybody agrees with him,
Right?
Yeah, it's good. It's a great coming of age story. I laughed because I've had that role compared to me several times. Mm-hmm. Like, this must have been inspirational for you, and I had not seen it until I was an adult, and I get it when I watched it. I was like, okay,
yeah. And I'm reading the synopsis online here, and it mentions that he does get the popular Hard Harry is his
Hard
Harry. His Hard Harry, which is, I think HH relates to the name of the high school as well.
Harry Henderson.
But this very Casey Kasem-esque voice,
right?
But
apparently
for the radio,
yes.
In part of the plot, one of Harry's listeners commits suicide, and so then the radio, he gets demonized, and so that's where that little bit of conflict comes in. But highly recommend it. It's comedy from the 80s. When was it? 89 probably. See, 90 from 1990. And let's see if it's available. So while I'm checking that out, Joe, what do you have up next for us?
It should be available. I watched it like a year ago, I think.
Well, as we talked about, that shit goes fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does do the turnaround, the hokey pokey and all that.
Yeah.
So my second one was going to be a John Waters flick from 1990, comedy musical Crybaby with Johnny Depp and Amy Locane, Kim McGuire, Susan Tyrrell, Ricky Lake, Iggy Pop, Patty Hearst.
It's got a cast.
Yeah, it's got.
There are actors.
I mean, if they're actors.
Shocking.
And, I don't know if you're a John Waters fan, then you have seen this movie. I'm a huge John Waters fan. One of my favorite things, my favorite John Waters quotes is, "If you're single and you're dating and you go home and somebody doesn't have books, don't sleep with them. Make books cool again." He's a cheeky character.
Basically, if they don't read, they're probably dumb, and they're going to lead to an idiocracy.
Idiocracy.
There it is. All right, full circle. No, John Waters is a cheeky gay man who's a lovely writer and creator and artist, and I enjoy his work.
Okay, what is it?
It's always a satire on society, and this one is.
I can't believe I've still not seen this movie, though. To be honest,
is about like the wrong
I've heard
side
of it. I've
the
never seen it
tracks.
either. Look at Joe, 2 for 2 on.
I know.
I have quite the list here, and I was really going for
I have quite a list,
what
too.
I hope
Yeah.
people haven't seen or have forgotten, because these are great films.
I'm less.
No,
my list is less inclined.
Johnny
to that.
Depp does do some singing and dancing, and you will see that he clearly has 2 left feet. But he can kind of carry a tune. He's all right. No, but the movie's great. It's very tongue in cheek. It's very on par with the satirical of Idiocracy too. I played into some of my choice, but yeah, you got to watch it.
All right.
Stuff. It's
All
good
right.
stuff.
So,
You got to watch it. That's the box cover.
The main thing is star-crossed lovers.
Right, right.
You know,
It's Romeo and Juliet. Yeah.
basically, but John Waters style.
That's that whole theory that there's only like 7 stories and
the prep school girl falls in love.
Yeah.
The biker guy who
I remember like seeing it. There's a
lives in
lot
a
about it
trailer.
that's why is this doing this? It's got a good aesthetic to it. It's got a good cast. Like, I mean, it's
But it's
always
about
been
outgrowing
something
your
that
parents
worth
and
watching.
forming your own opinion.
The only time I've ever seen it was on Comedy Central a lot, and then like I'd pass by it.
heavily edited.
And why would I want to catch the movie in the middle, right? So I've seen scenes and frames from it, and it does look like a joy, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Okay, well, let's move the microphone on over to you there, Jake.
all right.
Going through and double checking how many of these we can actually watch.
Next pick. Sorry, it's my phone again. Does that actually pick up in the recording when it's there, or is it just?
We'll find out.
All right,
I
sweet.
don't think so.
My next pick is I've been told that it might not count, but I'm counting it anyways. It is Chasing Amy.
Okay, I totally think that
I mean,
counts.
Yeah, and I love that movie. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it does count. I mean, let's really dive into it, because it's about 2 people, maybe even 3.
I think it's 3.
Yeah, because
Banky.
definitely they're discovering themselves sexually and as adults,
Romantically,
Which is
sexually,
a part of,
it's
of
about
all growth.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
there's a
it's-
moment in your life if you don't know much about yourself, or if you
Yeah.
haven't been listening, where like it clicks with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
was a really good and generally relatable story.
Yes, I think it is Kevin Smith's best movie. It's not my favorite of his movies, but I think it's his best movie. Mallrats is my favorite.
Arguably, Mallrats is great. Dogma.
Well, yeah, that's also arguable.
Just because
but
of the
yeah,
2 different levels of movies.
They're totally
biology
different.
lore. Oh, definitely different levels of movie. But he is a well-versed, and people, have called him a one-note. And Kevin Smith, if you hear this, or anybody wants to argue, he's well-versed.
Well,
have you seen Red State?
I have not seen Red State yet. I know.
It's good.
Crazy.
I know.
It's
But
crazy
just
that's
those
Kevin
2
Smith
movies
movie.
alone, Chasing Amy and Dogma
Yeah.
being back to back, that right there, those are 2 different notes
Yes.
completely.
Completely. And he did so well
Actually,
on both of them.
Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma.
Yeah.
Well, throw Clerks in there because Clerks is different from Mallrats, similar, but a whole different. I mean,
it was. Yeah,
but
he's a brilliant filmmaker.
maybe the same demographic up till Chasing Amy. I think Chasing Amy puts him into a new demo for viewers, and you know,
I think Dogma did the same.
Yeah,
I should say that my girlfriend hates Chasing Amy.
so there was a period of my life where I hated it. It wasn't anything against the movie. So please watch the movie. It was just
That just means he nailed self-reflection, and you watch it.
It means he chose a very, very, very
Controversial topic.
Yeah.
No, terrible song for the DVD menu.
That's
What was it? I don't even know what the song for the DVD menu is.
For the generation.
And that was it. It was
us.
like a 10-second loop, and my daughter's mother she loved Chasing Amy. So it would be on when she was breastfeeding. She'd get up in the middle of the night, and it was just that all night long, and it just became There's a Pavlov's dog thing happening there.
For you people who don't remember a time before streaming, the DVD menu music could be nightmare-inducing.
The music I remember is ba ba the opening credit music where it's just that ba do 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 do.
Oh, it wasn't that fun? No. And it was oddly enough
10 seconds looped. And it was
yes, because it was an old DVD, right? So it wasn't like
it was about the comic book coming in,
and there was just play options, whatever. Like it wasn't.
And it would just start.
It wasn't fun at all. So yeah, good pick. I love Chasing Amy, and I definitely it is streaming on Prime, so that's a good one for people to be able to just log onto your Prime account or rent it or whatever. But it is on a streaming service. I, for the longest time, had a hard time finding a lot of Kevin Smith, so it's nice.
Dogma's the one you can't find.
Is Dogma still hard to find?
You cannot find Dogma because
took out print, all this.
We were trying to watch the Clerks animated series.
Love that
some
show.
friends and I recently, and we couldn't. Get
He
over
got
it.
sick of fighting the archdiocese about the Buddy Christ or something. No, I'm just
No, I think the Dogma thing is whoever owns it, Universal or something, they just don't want to give up the streaming rights or whatever, and they won't give it back to him.
Somebody doesn't like the message.
Yeah.
And it's a movie with a giant poop.
Yeah.
It's a poop monster.
The Clerk.
Golgotha.
I do. I own the Clerks animated series on DVD somewhere.
We tried.
I own it too. Yeah, somewhere.
So for my next pick, I'm going to take it back. Did I go out of order? Boom, boom, boom.
No, it's your turn.
Yeah, I thought so. All right. I'm going to take it back some years to a movie that I've seen within the last year by chance. It wasn't one I watched for this, but I'm glad I saw it. And I never would have watched it because the title sucks. The title sucks. I would never watch a movie if it wasn't recommended. But the movie is called The Last Picture Show. And The Last Picture Show, right? See, exactly. The title sucks. The Last Picture Show has a very, very young Jeff Bridges. It's from 1971. It is in black and white, but 71 wasn't always the black and white era, right? So it was selected to be in black and white. And it takes place in the 50s, okay, in a small town. And what it really is about, and it was between this title and another title that we'll talk about later in the discards or whatever, but it was about the birth of the teenager, right? There was a period of time where teenagers didn't exist because everyone, you went to school, you came home, you worked on the farm or around the house, blah, blah, blah. But then, stores started popping up, movies started popping up, things to do. So the teenage lifestyle started to formulate. And this is about a town that has one bar, one pharmacy,
one horse town,
one theater, right? Yeah. And it goes through this one summer of these high schoolers, coming to terms with, school is going to be over or I'm going up a new grade. And a lot happens individually in each of the characters' lives. It's about 2 hours, I think, but super entertaining.
My bad.
A lot more than what I believe you'd expect from the movie if you were to even just watch a trailer, because even then the trailers back then were cut for purity.
I don't remember much of this movie, but I did see it once a while back.
Who else? It was her first role from Sybil Shepherd.
Yeah.
Dynamite role from her. So yeah, that's my recommendation. It was directed by Peter Bogdanovich, who's big of the era, but I don't know much about him.
My dad was always a big Jeff Bridges and I think more Sybil Shepherd fan, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, Cloris Leachman. Cloris Leachman's in it. See it alone for Cloris Leachman.
Yes. So I love her.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
much.
There's torrid stuff in it. Cloris Leachman's character, you will be super like just seeing that. I was like, oh my god, that's what happened. Because there's different types of teens in this, right? So there's the cool teens, the not cool teens. The not cool teen storyline runs with Cloris Leachman, and it is bonkers.
Nice.
Like very dazed and confused.
She is not a young person. He is a young person. And
What's or like a Freaks and Geeks? It has like the two. Is that what you're trying to say? Like it has two different.
The two different worlds it explores all the way. It's a small town, so everybody like
the adult world.
They cross paths. They make fun of them or whatever. But so 150 hour 58 minutes, 1971, Last Picture Show. That's my pick.
All right.
This is number 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is number 3 or number 4?
This would be your number 4.
1985's Weird Science.
Ooh, that's a good one.
John Hughes movie, takes place in Shermer, Illinois, because John Hughes. But it's just a great coming of age story about two nerdy guys that are just trying to find their way, through high school. Just figure out
the only way they know how. Frankenstein.
Frankensteining a lady out of the magazines to make all their wishes come true. So it's Frankenstein and the genie in a bottle all in one nice comedy fantasy coming of age story. And my favorite part is as Bill Paxton playing Chet, who turns into a toad.
Anything with
the
Bill
Toad
Paxton
Chode
is a winner for me.
And I mean Robert Downey Jr. at
That's
his
right.
best.
At his best.
Yeah.
Kiss, kiss, bang, bang, dude. Come on.
I was just talking about before rehab. I was really
Oh, you mean
bad taste joke.
You mean at his highest is what you meant to say.
There you go.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
No. It was he plays the bully, the douchebag, and it's funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, young
movie.
Robert Downey Jr. is good to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was before he really had a drug problem. This was, when he was still
Learning about drugs.
learning about acting, really.
It was Weird Science, man. He was doing drugs.
Probably.
I feel like
I don't want to speak for him.
I
Why
don't
don't you let us know?
Yeah, I'm sure he's listening.
Wow.
He seems like a podcast guy,
Yeah.
right?
I'm not ruling it out.
We're hitting some. It's crazy that a lot of these conversations are unfortunately short because I haven't seen Weird Science, but maybe once.
Oh, okay.
He's seen it once, and it's because I showed it to you.
Yeah, and
I've seen
that's
it a
'cause
couple
I
times. He used to be
bought
on
him-
G4 all the time.
no. Here's the
I
thing.
bought him a Chet doll collectible, and he didn't laugh hard enough. I was like, "We got to watch this movie," because that's when I found out he'd never seen it.
So I can't tell you anything about it because Joe's like, "Oh, you got to watch this movie," and then proceeded to. We probably drank, and he talks, and I didn't watch the movie. Is what I'm saying. I was present when this movie was on.
I feel like
So good.
I mean, I think it's a hilarious movie, but I feel like it might be a little dated in some regards.
But I hope so.
Oh, 100%.
That's fun. That's fun for me.
There's definitely a nostalgia in it for my.
I just mean,
enjoyment,
like-
too. I saw it as a young child. So.
That whole like creepy dude aspect of it, like,
Right.
oh yeah, we're just gonna make her, and we're gonna make her to have sex with us. And,
Yeah, right.
A lot of the humor doesn't age well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies nowadays. I mean, like another movie I have on my list. I don't think I'm gonna bring it up and put it on the list, but when we talk about it later, huge red flags as far as like it could never be made today. Just couldn't be.
Well, now I need to know.
We'll get to it. I may talk. I don't know. I'm just looking at this list, still trying to get variety, and we keep nailing like bangers of like epic proportions without hitting like the obvies. And
But like you said, they're also not all the same. Like they're not. They're different genres.
Yeah.
Like sure we have a couple rom-coms in there, but like Weird Science is not the same.
No.
As
And then as new ones are coming up, I'm like, okay, is the one I was going to recommend going to hit the same taste bud?
Yeah.
And so, there's something different. So that brings us to you, Jake. You've got, this is your last recommendation.
Okay, I actually do need to pull up the Wikipedia because I've only seen this movie once. But I think
That's all it takes to see a movie to recommend.
I want to rewatch it because it's just a good movie, and that it is 2016's 20th Century Women.
Interesting.
It is directed by Mike Mills. I'm going to do a Joe and just list off the cast here. We've got Annette Bening, Elle Fanning, Greta Gerwig,
Cool.
Lucas Jade Zuman, I don't know who that is, and Billy and Billy Crudup. Crudup?
Yeah, Crudup.
It is a different kind of coming of age movie because unlike most of them where it's kind of first person, it is told through the perspective of the 3 women that are raising this kid.
Oh,
interesting. So it's like a reverse in that regard where you're watching it and it kind of it's in like 3 parts, right? So it's got like the mom, the whoever, the whatever, and it's like they're part of his story.
Interesting.
And this is on Max. I know that because I plan on watching it soon.
Thanks for checking.
Yes. Good movie. Greta Gerwig. She's good in it. She's a good actor, honestly. Yeah.
Yep, can confirm available on Max.
Yeah.
And Max Prime Video channels and rentable on Prime.
Yeah.
I have not seen this. I've not even heard of this.
It's an A24 movie.
Okay.
As well.
Okay, that's
before pre them being all about showing random cum shots.
Oh yeah, wow. This is 2016, so it's, I don't know. A24 has an art to it, but there's so many movies that I didn't realize were A24s, and then the ones that like there isn't a single look that they have.
No,
not at all.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. It
looks. I'm watching the trailer, and it looks fascinating.
The thing.
I've not seen it. I have heard of it. It's on my list. I just haven't. To it.
Definitely.
Lists. So many lists. Each app has a different list.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just
you don't need to take up.
Go watch it, mother.
Yeah.
So then this is going to be my last pick, and I have so many here. And so I'm debating on whether or not I can fit these on another topic. Is really what's determining what's going to happen. I think
I don't have that restriction.
I think you know what we got to go with one of these. So there's a group of titles here that I kind of put on the same line because I was just going to only mention one of them because they all kind of hit the same. And it's a matter of whether or not I go with my generation's grandfather, godfather of that, or the one that I like the most. I think I'm going to go with the one I like the most, and that's Euro Trip.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Euro
I considered
Trip.
putting that on my list. Didn't make mine, but
Euro Trip is of the ones that I chose. I think this one's like the fun. Let's just have fun with it.
It's hysterical.
This is the one Scotty doesn't know.
Scotty doesn't know. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's 2004, and it's definitely not the original. Like there were ones that came out before, but it did a lot of things right, and it took the cast to Europe and traveled over multiple different areas of Europe to allow for different set pieces, and different jokes. But like the coming of age sex comedy of the early 2000s was just a lot. It's just a lot of fun. Like I think even now you go back and watch them and they have
so much humor. Every nook and cranny. There's something funny.
Yeah, I've only seen this movie once, and it was in like high school, so I don't remember much.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I remember Matt Damon as.
Yep, Matt Damon was the lead singer.
Yep.
Lead singer. He
punk
was
rock. Fuck God.
He was doing what Scotty didn't know he was doing.
Yeah. Also,
don't tell Scott.
I feel like that was like Matt Damon was just like fucking.
Oh, he was ripped. I forget how he even ended up on that set.
Yeah,
I think they were shooting in another country and he happened to be there, and I think he got pulled into it.
Okay,
right, because he was on Born Identity or one of the Born. He just happened to be there and know somebody. Working on it.
It's not one of the IMDb stories, so I can't make up.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but 95% of it was filmed in Prague, which does make sense.
Yeah.
But highly recommend it. It's got, the cast is not recognizable. I don't know that I've seen them in anything else. I wished I could see them in other things. Michelle Trachtenberg is probably the most recognizable, but she honestly offers the least in the movie. The male leads are just hilarious. The guy who plays Scotty, the guy who plays his friend Jacob, or Coop.
Yeah.
And then Michelle plays one of a set of twins, and her brother, they're Jamie and Jenny, and Jamie is just hilarious because it's just self-deprecating humor the whole time.
So funny.
I will talk about the other ones that I chose not to mention because I just feel like they were all just one.
But on any rewatch of that, you're gonna find a new joke.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and a new favorite joke, and it kind of relates to Idiocracy from earlier for me because really, like anytime you think you didn't hear something, like listen to it. They whisper some of the funniest shit.
Yeah.
Can't believe you like money and sex. Like,
You tripping me out,
my
man.
mind.
You're tripping me out, man.
It's so funny. Or the names of the characters: Dwayne, Herbert, Mountain Dew.
Oh
Tylenol,
yeah, everything was branded.
Oh, what was the AT&T Sportsnet, whatever the phone company was?
Yes.
U.S. government. Yeah.
All right, Joe.
Oh man, number 4. Okay, so I like you say, this one's. So I'm just gonna do the one because it has to be mentioned. Animal House, bro.
Okay.
Animal House, which has so many people in it. I'm not going to do my textbook thing and read the names off, but it's got.
You don't need to.
It's got John Belushi.
Yeah.
Jim. Right? No.
John?
Jim's still alive. He was right. It was John.
It was John Belushi.
One of those Belushis.
Don't you ever call Jim a blues brother, okay?
Yeah, that's fair.
Because he fucked that shit up. You heard me, Jim.
He knows. Shit.
No, but yeah, it's so fucking funny. It's so good. It's guess what I am? A zit. Like,
yeah.
You know, I mean, and it's really like the comedy that broke comedy. You know what I mean? Now we could have all these like Airplane and all that came after. You know what I mean? It just
that was
blew the door off the.
Was that the first National Lampoon movie?
Yes.
Yeah. So
correct.
Yeah.
Just
wouldn't have Caddyshack without it. You wouldn't have
any of it. None of it.
Vacation, Christmas Vacation.
Yep. You wouldn't even have probably SNL.
Yeah,
honestly.
So SNL was already in play at the time.
Sure.
It was.
Yeah.
But what it did do, Animal House was, it brought individuals. So yes, it brought the National Lampoon, but it also like set apart, the individual actors to go from there.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who all. There's some small cameos in that are pretty astounding.
And
wasn't Kevin Bacon in that?
Yeah, Kevin Bacon was in that. Yeah, he had a very small role in that. He did pretty good. That was I don't know. There's a lot of food fights, so he definitely got stuff smashed in his face. He was one of the ROTCs. Yeah. Got his face in the mud.
So I am curious though. Of the coming of age part, because I feel like there's not really one character.
It's the whole group, right? Like every single character is coming of age in their own way, because every year of college you come into a different. Like you're either coming from high school, becoming a college student, graduating college, or you're halfway through becoming like a TA.
It's another movie I can't really speak on because I've only seen it once and it was a long time ago. So I don't really know the.
No, it's a great movie. I definitely recommend it.
Have you seen that movie about National Lampoon on Netflix?
I was going to recommend it.
It's a great movie.
It's got a weird title, so
A stupid and futile gesture.
Yeah, it's really
great
good.
movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
So good.
And what's really interesting about that movie is it takes itself seriously, except in certain parts. Like
it breaks the fourth wall a couple times.
When the characters
are just off the wall.
Yeah.
So the actors playing other people are clearly nowhere. They're not trying to look like them, but whatever. But like they're taking it all super serious.
That's one of my favorite lines is when the guy who's supposed to be playing, Will Forte as the narrator or whatever, and he's like, "You really think I look like that guy when I was 20?"
Will Arnett, yeah.
Oh, Will Forte.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet. Who's playing?
And that was also interesting because I didn't know anything about that guy, going into it. So if you don't know anything about that guy, it actually elevates that movie.
I knew a little bit about the guy. I didn't know he was that related and that deep, into all that stuff.
I did sometimes those movies will spark my interest, and I'll go online and then see what did Hollywood fabricate, what was real, and it put me into a super loophole because I'll tell you what, it was fascinating. That guy, his death still unexplained.
Don't get that part of my brain.
I'm not saying
conspiracies, man.
What I'm saying is you have your thoughts. Whatever it is still a thought. There's no
note or anything saying why.
Physical proof. They never found the body. They never. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's
a complete mystery.
Yeah.
So, that brings. I've been fishing around trying to find that dice. Oh, you moved it. Okay.
Yeah, I got it ready to go.
Or hand that over to Jake.
Oh, okay.
While we're going to do some honorable mentions.
Yep. So roll that up. Yeah, roll that up
first.
Yeah,
See what the number is?
I had to go with Animal House, but some other ones I had on there.
That's fine.
Oh, we're gonna do this.
Well, it's gonna make a noise, so we just want to roll it.
Okay, go ahead.
5. All right, cool.
5.
Probably gonna have to re-roll that, but go ahead.
What? Why?
Good.
Was it good enough?
So another one I was gonna do that was on the list would be Superbad. That was very coming of age.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But I thought, if I'm gonna just go hard into comedies, I gotta do Animal. So that's why that one went above it. But another one would have been like Stand By Me was obviously a big coming of age. The movie Now and Then, where they literally went through different portions of their life, flashing back.
That one's got
forth.
such a great cast.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Biodome, if anybody. So I had to
Okay,
throw
really?
all Pauly Shore in there.
Does that count?
Yeah, I don't know if it does. That one's
Okay.
spreading the
Well,
rules a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, but they learned how to go from being like failure, like dropout students, into being like contributing members of society. There is growth there.
Yeah, I think they went from failed adults to functioning adults. So I guess.
Yeah,
but-
it's there.
Does Bill and Ted count? And that,
I mean, it would. Yeah, technically, yeah.
because they
learned how to pass their history class.
but they didn't really change. They didn't really change. They were still Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
And then one that I threw in because my wife laughingly shouted out was Rock and Roll High School Forever, which is the sequel to the Ramones movie Rock and Roll High School, but it has Corey Feldman in it. And
Okay.
I guess we all grow a little bit
Yeah.
when we watch the Corey Feldman.
Are we?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That was.
Oh yeah. Should we just go through? Are we just going through all the honorable mentions?
Yeah,
now, then?
just real quick.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And if there's anything small you want to add about it.
So you already mentioned one of mine, which is Superbad. I got a pretty big list here, honestly. Brigsby Bear.
Not familiar with that one.
No, me
So that's
either.
what's his name? Kyle Mooney.
Brigsby Bear.
It's about a kid who gets he's in this bunker for his whole life, and he doesn't know anything about the outside world. And when he goes to the outside world, it's completely not what his parents told him it was going to
Oh,
be.
like Blast from the Past.
That's exactly
Brendan
what my girlfriend said when I said it.
But probably a different tone. Like I don't know.
I haven't seen Blast from the Past. I don't know.
See it. I'll
yeah,
have to see
I would
Brigsby
recommend
Bear. I
it.
haven't seen it.
Lady Bird,
Lady Bird.
Boys in the Hood,
Ooh, good one.
Dead Poet Society.
Oh yeah. Definitely would have been on my list, but I've already talked about it on
Yeah,
a
we
previous
did
show.
Dead
so
Poets on one another.
Mid-90s.
I haven't seen it yet. That's
that was good.
It's a good
yeah,
movie,
that's
Jonah Hill directed
I wanted to
it.
see that.
Yeah, you already said Superbad. The Sandlot,
It was one of mine.
Garden State,
Oh yeah, one of
Yeah.
my wife's favorites. I love that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
uh,
Zach Braff.
Mud. Have you seen Mud?
Oh, with
Matthew McConaughey?
Not yet.
No.
It's really about the two kids and not Matthew McConaughey. So
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, definitely watch it. Good movie.
It's on one of my lists.
Yeah, Orange County.
Oh man,
Okay.
it's been so long since I've seen that one.
I actually saw it on a plane recently. That's the only reason I know about it.
nice.
Ben Stiller's part.
Yeah. The one that I was surprised no one said was Almost Famous.
Oh, very good.
So,
we watched
that was our movie to watch last week
Ah, okay, that makes sense then.
or 2 weeks ago. No, last week.
Last
yeah,
episode,
Yeah.
Great movie. Jason Lee, another Jason Lee,
Yeah.
Love Jason.
and Billy Crudup,
Yep.
and another Billy Crudup movie, which I kind of went back and forth on, even if it is a coming of age movie, because I don't really remember it that much.
I mean, I put
but-
Biodome in. What you got?
Rudderless. Have you heard of
Rudderless?
Rudderless.
Is that about guys
I've
who
not
vote?
heard of that.
Kinda.
Yeah, probably. Man. I imagine the metaphor.
No,
is...
no, it's not.
All right.
It's he.
Nice
he
list, though. Nice list.
So his that one's about a guy. His son dies in a school shooting, and he just fucking gives up on life, and he goes to live on a boat on a dock for like a couple of years, and then it's kind of about him getting over that and getting over his son's death, and
Okay.
this, along
Coming
with
to terms with having to outlive.
it's also a
your
music
offspring.
movie.
It's
also another music movie. So
Oh, okay. What was that called?
Rudderless, great movie.
Rudderless,
Okay.
There's a twist at it too. It's pretty good.
The trailer for
list.
Bigsby Bear is playing over in the outside of my eye, and it does look bonkers. I do need to see that.
All right.
So my list, I'll go through mine rather quickly unless I need to stop and talk about anything. That's a caveat. Heather's was my,
Heather's
it was
great
that
movie,
or
Christian
Pump Up the
Slater.
Volume, yeah. I did have Sandlot. Booksmart was going to be my pick over Superbad because I feel like Superbad is one that people have seen and Booksmart is one
And
that
isn't
people
that
haven't.
Jonah Hill's sister? Is one of them, isn't it?
I don't know, but it's Olivia Wilde directed it.
yeah.
And it's
She's
great.
Yeah,
It's
she's
great.
an amazing director.
The Karate Kid, the original Karate
Oh,
Kid.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Labyrinth,
Okay.
Never-Ending Story.
Good.
This is the movie, so I had to mention this one. This is the movie I was referring to earlier that definitely could not be made today, and that's Big. It's a
Big.
really?
it's a huge movie about statutory rape.
Yeah. It was such a good movie, though. If
I
you
would
take that out of
say
it.
I would say they technically did make it with Shazam. Shazam is
I technically
big,
never
isn't
watched
it?
Shazam.
I never watched either.
Isn't
But just
Shazam
going
about a
off,
wizard? Don't you like wish him to show up?
isn't
that was Kazam.
isn't big
Oh,
about
Shazam! Yeah, I did see Shazam. Wow.
isn't
Wow.
I mean I didn't watch the whole.
Did they date? I don't remember.
I don't
watched
watch-
it
I didn't
once.
watch it,
Yeah, I
but-
don't remember. But yeah, if he fucks anyone in Shazam, that's definitely statutory rape.
No, and
At least it wasn't the
doesn't.
first
They-
one.
They flirt at it, but it doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, no, Big though. Yeah, I had Now and Then. The other, I had American Pie and Sex Drive. I went with Eurotrip.
Yeah.
And I went with Last Picture Show instead of American Graffiti. So the one that
American Graffiti was another
great one. I'm sure we'll find a way to talk about American Graffiti.
Oh, it's gonna come
a lot
up.
of these other ones
Yeah,
as well.
that's why I was like, not yet.
But the one that I was like, oh, do I really need to? Like, I want to. And I went for my indie pick was more Rushmore because I do think it's worth seeing. But there's a Paul Giamatti movie that came out a few years ago. I went and I saw it at the theater by myself because no one wanted to see it. And I was like, I got to see this movie. It's a movie called Win Win where he plays a wrestling
Okay, I've
coach.
not seen this. Yeah.
Highly recommend this. Highly recommend this movie. Super dark. So if I say it's a comedy, it's Paul Giamatti. I mean, it's just go in for the performance and the story because it is about him. You know,
Paul Giamatti's amazing.
I think he's like a lawyer or like a dentist. He's something where he's got a small office and he's not happy with life, but he gets genuine fulfillment out of coaching this wrestling team. And then of course there's the story of the boys, and you know it's not they're not a winning team, so it's about winning. So you know, find the generic sports growth there, but the performance and the honestly win-win.
Yeah.
Win-win. Highly recommend
All right.
that.
So what was number 5 on that die there? baby?
Was Pump Up the Volume, which
Pump up the volume.
is not streaming anywhere.
What? I
see.
just
Yeah.
watched it. Like,
So let me check again because I don't think you could even rent it. Because like if we can at least rent
you
it,
gotta be
then
kidding me. Like,
no.
Well, here it's one of those things where if me and my wife
Yeah,
decide
not
to watch
available.
something, like I might own it on.
I don't
Amazon.
care. I want others to be able to watch it because we're gonna have to talk about it next week.
That's fair. You want to be, others to be able to watch it. Okay.
Reroll.
Reroll.
6. Another one that's not streaming anywhere.
Oh no, actually, and I'd be very, very joyed to watch it. I do believe this one was at least rentable. Give me a minute.
What is it? The suspense is killing my bladder.
Yeah, no, this one is at least rentable. So we're gonna watch Crybaby next week.
Crybaby. All right, and
I'm super excited about it.
I have that on DVD, and I know where that DVD is. I saw it today.
And everyone else can rent it. It's a $3.79 to $3.99 rental elsewhere. So if you want to follow along, then I recommend doing
Support
that.
John Waters and literacy.
So that brings us sadly to the end of our episode. Jake, is there any way that people can reach out to you? Do you want people to reach out to you? Where can they find you online if you so desire?
I got Instagram. It's the letter J Caveman 250. Yeah, that's Instagram. My name for Facebook if you really want to reach out to me there, but I don't know who reaches out to people on Facebook.
I don't know. I use it for networking and
That's about it.
jobs and
That's
shit.
about it. I mean,
Joe?
As y'all know, you can find me on Instagram at chaotic_artisan and at the UFPod. All that shit.
I'll cover that. You can find me at Beeford Clark on Instagram. You can follow the show at UFOstudio.Detroit on Instagram. And you can go to Facebook, and look us up under Unorthodox Film Podcast. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever all of our podcasts are available. Visit our website at ufpodcast.podbean.com, and then you can follow the links there to listen and visit our store, the UFO Bazaar.
UFO Bazaar.
What do you got on there now? Yeah.
So we've got some mugs,
Shazam.
we've got some cups, we've got some hoodies. A lot of our stuff started off pretty Unorthodox Film Podcast, but Outcasts, right? But we've added last night. We added some more podcast stuff, as well as we've got my favorite is the Thank the Crew shirt. We've got that in a hoodie. We've got that in a t-shirt. We've got that in a moisture wicking work shirt, which is super dope.
Interesting.
I wore it down in Kentucky when it got hot, and it really is a lot cooler to work in.
What's hats?
So we keep looking at hats.
Yeah.
I want a hat. The problem is
always wearing a hat.
no fitted hats. So we need to find a place that'll do a fitted hat for us. All of them are like trucker hats, and and the label, like the printing stuff on it, just seems like it would be weak sauce. So
I don't know. I mean, I have a bunch of trucker hats. I don't wear them as often.
Yeah.
But this is a trucker hat that I'm wearing right now.
Okay.
My RoboCup.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
See, that one looks nice. I feel like
because it's iffy. You gotta make sure you know who you're.
Right. So here's the thing with the store. We know we're a small brand. What we're trying to do is we're trying to raise funds so we can do our projects. We're trying to make movies, right? And the best place to do that is some crowdfunding, and so it's a way to support. So sometimes the items are a little bit more expensive than you would off the shelf, but that's the fundraising part of it, right? But I still want it to be quality, and I'd hate for someone to spend, whatever they'd ask us
$20-$30.
Right, because we really do cut down the profits on a lot. So there's the shipping cost, there's the cost for it. So, we built our profit to be relatively few dollars. Yeah. Depending on the item. But ultimately we wanted to be fair to you and fair to us. And if at the end you're getting a crappy product, then I feel we all lose. Yeah. Because then you might not order from us again. Right. So you can check that out. That's at ufpodcast.podbean.com, and there are links to follow there. So Jake, thank you so much for coming on and having this conversation with us. Joseph, any last words for our listeners before we take off?
Check out that UFO Bazaar we were talking about, and Jake, really strong list, dude.
Thank you.
First one to come up with so many movies I have yet to see.
Well, good. I've listened. I'm like, man, Joe knows all these fucking movies. What the fuck? Does he do anything else other than watch these movies?
When I'm not working on set, no. That's what I do. It's all research, baby. I'm always watching.
It all counts, man.
It does. Yeah, write them all off.
All right, everyone.
Show my kid this whole world.
We will talk with you next time. Please give us a like and a follow on any of the apps that you follow us on. Give us some comments. Let us know maybe what movies you would have added to this list. If you do have recommendations or recommendations for our topics, you can email us at ufostudio.detroit@gmail.com. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Woo.